A Parkinson's disease diagnosis comes with a number of issues. One of those is communication. As the disease progresses, communication can become more difficult for someone living with Parkinson's. For example, Helen has been living with Parkinson's for over 7 years. Just lately, she has begun experiencing difficulties related to speech and communication. Her aide, Tanya, has noticed that Helen speaks very softly and many times is difficult to hear. Mumbling or sometimes no speech capability at all is a symptom of the disease.
Miss Helen, are your children coming back to see you this weekend?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss Helen, are they coming?
Yeah.
Yes, good, good. How many children do you have?
4.
A little louder, Miss Helen. 4.
Difficulty
4
in
children.
hearing what a resident is saying can be very frustrating for both the resident and the caregiver. Patience is key. It is important to remember your resident is not speaking quietly on purpose. Don't just say what to the resident in an effort to get them to repeat what was said. Treat all residents, including those living with Parkinson's, with respect. Both understanding and managing communication issues associated with Parkinson's disease will assist you in doing your job well. There are a number of solutions that Tanya can employ when she's having trouble hearing Helen. First, minimize background noise that can interfere with hearing her. Turn the TV or radio volume down or off. Another suggestion is to have Helen sit up higher in bed so she can take deeper breaths prior to speaking. Ask her to speak loudly. Sensory processing can be an issue for people living with Parkinson's disease. Every person thinks they're talking louder than they really are, and no one wants to be the resident that yells at the aide, the person they're dependent upon for help. So, give them permission to say things louder. Get even more specific by asking her to take a breath in before speaking. Remind her to take another breath in as soon as she feels she's running out of air or when you notice she has run out of air. Ask yes or no questions so she doesn't have to remember multiple words when answering. Most importantly, if Helen says a sentence and you understand all but one word, ask her to repeat only the missing word. For example, you want to go where? Asking her to repeat the entire sentence again, if she's cognitively impaired, may not work because she won't remember what she said. As a reminder, Tanya can also place signs that read "Speak loudly" on Helen's bed and around her room. If it doesn't violate the facility's policies, try using a technique that speech therapists employ to help the resident hear what you're hearing. Use the resident's phone to record him or her speaking and then play it back.
Miss Helen, I'm going to record you today, okay? So I just want you to repeat after me. Can you say "It's a bright and sunny day"?
It's a bright and sunny day.
Okay, let's take a listen to that and see how you sounded.
It's a bright and sunny day.
Ask, how does that sound to you? Slow response time is common for those living with Parkinson's. Be patient and wait for them to speak. Look the person in the eye to make sure they are paying attention to you. If so, then know they heard what you said, but it's just taking them longer to process their response. If the wait time is excessive, you may repeat what you said. Sometimes Parkinson's residents have short-term memory problems, so keep instructions clear and concise. You may find that offering multiple choice between 2 to 3 items is helpful. Nonverbal cues can also help improve communication as you care for your Parkinson's resident. For example, if you're trying to find out what they'd like to order for lunch from a menu and your resident can't verbalize the item, point and ask them to nod when you get to what they want.
Right. So would you like the fish or the chicken?
Or ask your resident to point at the menu item.
You like the chicken tonight? Okay, great.
Another option is to have the resident write down what they want. They can also leave you messages as to what they need by keeping a pen and paper within reach. If handwriting is a challenge for the resident, use an alphabet board to spell words or a high-frequency word board with nonverbal or very quiet residents. Sometimes a Parkinson's resident has motor impairment and either their mouth or hands can't move well. Instead of asking them to point or write something down, ask them to gaze at a preferred response. For example, when you ask Helen, "Do you want the radio on today?" Have a small binder handy with the words yes or no on them. Ask her to gaze at the answer. Then you can also have a page in the binder that has jazz or country written on each side and ask her to gaze at the type of station she'd like to listen to. If you're caring for a resident who is nonverbal, you can always use basic, universally recognized gestures. If asking, "Are you thirsty?" put your hand in a backward C up to your mouth as if you're taking a drink. For hungry, gesture as if you're scooping food off a plate. Or tired, place your hands in a prayer position next to your head. These are simple yet effective ways to communicate with your resident. Encourage the resident to use these gestures too. Augmented communication applications for an iPad may be available. Look for direction from the resident's family or speech-language therapist when using these devices. Even if your Parkinson's resident's face looks flat or masked, know they are still listening. Ask them to repeat what you've instructed them to do. This reinforces that they understand. If there is any information you want the resident's family to know, follow protocol so the family can be notified. As the aide, write information such as your name and when you'll be working with the resident on a 3x5 card. You can give it to your resident or tape it somewhere visible and readable. Keeping a calendar in their room is very helpful too. Mark each day off and review it with your resident so they remain oriented to the day and date. Sing songs with your resident to help them use their voice. Residents like to smile, laugh, and joke in a nice way. Everything doesn't all have to be so serious as long as a resident is open to light, friendly humor. Facilitate communication by asking about a happy past experience in their life. You'll be able to tell if it's appropriate as you get to know your resident who is living with Parkinson's disease. People with this disease get fewer hugs than other people because of the masked face symptom. Don't take this as a sign that your resident is disinterested. It's just part of the disease. When family and friends come to visit, ask them about your resident's favorite food, pets, and other interests. You can mine some valuable nuggets to communicate about later on as you care for them. Communication is important. Quality of life is determined by interactions with other people. A simple touch of hand on the arm, pat on the shoulder, or smile can ensure that people like Helen, living with Parkinson's disease, are connected with the people around them. Also, keep in mind that silence does not have to be uncomfortable. Just being present can make all of the difference. No two Parkinson's residents are alike. Making the effort to find common ground for communication will enrich the caretaking experience and support your resident in the process.